And we're back with Season 5, Episode 6, Appaloosa's Most Wanted. This is the episode in which the Cutie Mark Crusaders go to a rodeo at Appaloosa. Gotta say that right. And in so doing, they encounter Trouble Shoes Clyde. And they're like, hey, what's up? And he's like, I hate my life because I'm your okay. You don't actually have to hang out with me if you don't want to. And they end up helping him out, and things are cool at the end. Yes, save changes. So, while I was looking up some background information for this episode, I came across something that admittedly amused me a little bit. Actually, I don't have it in front of me because I'm a moron. Here we go. So I tend to check some of the review sites to see if there's anything I miss, which honestly there usually isn't, but every now and again there's something. In this case, one of the things I missed was the fact that several reviewers tend to skip this episode because there's just nothing to talk about. My notes are maybe a third the usual size. So this is going to be a short one, is what I'm trying to say. First we have the rodeo. Now I do like the way they show the rodeo. They do tend to like their healthy competitions in Equestria, don't they? Which I'm actually totally in favor of. As I've said many, many times, I'm actually fully in favor of competition. It's when it goes to extremes that it tends to be problematic. You know, there's nothing wrong with rooting for your team. There is something wrong with starting a bar fight because someone in the bar is part of the other team. You know, just to use an example there. So, cool. Sweetie Belle, of course, immediately points out how dangerous the rodeo is, which is a good thing to point out. Plenty of people in real life don't actually realize how dangerous certain professions are that look cool or look fun. Those professions can be cool and can be fun, but they are also generally very dangerous. So, I like that they slide that in there. They actually mention that later, too. Because immediately after the Cutie Mark Crusaders ask, we'd like to participate in the rodeo, the haystack falls over, and everyone treats that as a major and serious problem. Which they should. Because it is. Haystacks can weigh quite a bit, and that's a whole thing of them. Yeah. Anyways, this then leads to Cactus Hat. I love the Cactus Hat. This is also interesting because Brayburn is apparently terrible at his freaking job. Even the first scene with him, he's like, hey, wait, where's the kids? Oh, they're right there. Right where I left them. Brayburn sucks at being a babysitter. I suppose we could excuse it, but it is a running theme, and they do show that right off the bat. They also do the harmonica music thing. That's the only part of the whole episode that actually made me laugh, by the way. It's like, it's Trouble Shoes. And it cuts to the guy actually playing the harmonica. That got me. So then, I lied. There's one other joke that got me. There's this bit where he says, now I asked for a meeting, not a mob, and some people get rid of their torches and pitchforks. That's not the bit, it'll come up later. Then he gives some bad exposition. Shrug. This then leads to them deciding to send the Cutie Mark Crusaders back home. But Brayburn's like, no, we need to compete. You need to go and do this. Don't worry, I'll watch the kids. Now, if he was actually capable of watching the kids, that'd be perfectly fine. As we see, he is totally not. Like 3 times in a row. This is just incident number 2. However, a really minor point. Did you notice how, of the 3, only Apple Bloom actually had stylings on her backpack? I guess it's not really a backpack, it's like a side pack, but you know what I mean, right? You're probably wondering why I bring that up. You remember how Apple Bloom was the one of the 3 who's actually interested in fashion and design? Really minor point, but it caught my attention, and I liked that. Tiny bits of continuity. That's the flavor right there. Anyways, so the kids decide to go roaming out into a storm in the woods. Great. There's also a nice little tidbit here where they mention how, I know we need lots of mud for the rodeo, but they could have warned us about the rain. First of all, nice little tidbit reminding us that the weather is fully manufactured, so this storm was planned. Second of all, she's actually got a good point. Why didn't they tell them exactly when the storm was scheduled? They can do that. It's also possible Applejack just wasn't keeping up on it. This leads to Brayburn being the worst. Okay, real talk for a second. If I was an idiot and trusted Brayburn with my niece, and then, you know, Brayburn told me that my niece was out in the woods at night in rain, I'd probably slug him on the spot. And then without saying anything, I just pong, and then I just go out and look for my niece. Anyways, this is when we're properly introduced to Trouble Shoes. Did you know he has a broken leg? Oh, he's gonna have another one in a second. Oh no, see, I'd be punching myself for weeks after that one, Lord Harriman. Because I apparently trusted Brayburn. So anyways, so they go out and they see Trouble Shoes. I looked this up. His full name is Trouble Shoes Clyde. Now, there's two reasons that amuses me. First is because it confirms something I suspected, and second, I really like Clydesdales. They're my favorite type of horse in real life. I've actually been around, never ridden. They offered, but I declined. But I have actually physically petted and interacted with Clydesdales in real life. They're gorgeous, amazing horses, and I love them. And Clyde, he's a Clydesdale! In fact, to my knowledge, he is our first Clydesdale. And you notice there's even sound effects as he walks. You know, there's a thunk, thunk as he moves. It's actually more of a clump, but you get the point. It gets across the mass. And of course, he leaves those giant hoof prints, and he's big and strong, and blah, blah, blah. Everything indicates he is a Clydesdale, and I just think that's kind of cool that they are branching out and having different types of horses here. And yeah, he is also, to my knowledge, the biggest pony in the show. If there's actually a larger if there's a larger shown pony in this series, I don't know about it. Off the top of my head. Yeah, the Cadillac of horses. That is a good thing. Yeah, I don't know who Rockhoof is. I'm guessing that's someone I don't know. I guess I could look it up. Oh, him. Okay, I do know who he is. Isn't he a Clydesdale too? I guess I could check here. Oh, it's not going to confirm. He has the same stylings, the same overall body type. So yeah, no. So we got two Clydesdales. Anyways, point being, it's awesome that they bothered to do that. So naturally, he's very Eeyore. Now, I mentioned this in chat, but to say this out loud, most of my friends make fun of me by saying that I am Eeyore. You're probably wondering why. Well, because I'm the guy where it's like, well, I mean, if it's no trouble, it'd be okay if we could do something. If not, that's alright. Don't worry, I'll do all the work myself. You don't have to do any. Now, I'm exaggerating with my voice right now to make the point, but that is kind of my overall approach, you know. I don't want to bug you. So, you know, if it's okay, could you do this kind of a thing? He tends to be fairly Eeyore. He's also a Protoss carrier. I'm not kidding, I looked it up. The voice was just kind of making me go, I know that voice. I know that voice. And I did some digging. It's specifically the Protoss carrier voice from StarCraft 2. Carrier has arrived. That's him. That's friggin' Clyde. Anyways. So, and you're probably thinking, why do I know the carrier voice from the Protoss? You haven't seen me play Protoss, have you? So, let's talk about the only thing... There's actually two things this episode brings up that are worth a damn to discuss. Point one. Cutie marks. There's three, in my opinion, and feel free to bring up any others, but there's three broad possibilities here. Possibility number one. He is actually cursed by his cutie mark, and his cutie mark has turned him into something that he doesn't want to be or doesn't like. Okay? Possibility number one. For obvious reasons, I don't really like this option. Possibility number two. Totally regardless of his cutie mark and anything related to it, he is simply a clumsy person. This is a thing in real life. There are plenty of people who just do not have proper coordination, right? Like they just don't have the actual real life sixth sense of how to. Here, I'll close my eyes. How to be able to do something like this without hesitation. See, I don't need to use my eyes to do that because the so-called sixth sense in real life is just your ability to position things based on information that you are not actively taking in, right? There are people who have problems with that in real life, and there are people who can be clumsy as a direct result. This leads me to option 3. 3 is my personal favorite here, by the way. Option 3 is perspective. It's also the thing everyone in chat is saying. Option 3 is he misunderstands his cutie mark and therefore presumes it to be true and therefore makes it to be true. Really? It's on random. This is becoming a thing. In other words, you know, my life sucks, therefore my life sucks. This is, again, another thing that has been proven to be a real thing within reason in real life. If you automatically assume that everything's going to go badly for you, there's a pretty good chance that everything's going to go badly for you. It is also entirely possible that there's some bleed over here. His cutie mark talent is to entertain people. That's pretty demonstrable, I think. He is probably pretty clumsy. After all, he is a very large pony. And he has perceived this bad luck thing ever since he first saw it. You remember, they point out back in the day that he didn't even continue his tryout to become a rodeo pony. As soon as he saw the cutie mark, he just peaced out because of perspective, because he presumed that it was bad luck and there was no point to even try. Self-defeatism is a real thing. So, like, if it's not obvious, I kind of think that there's a combination of all three going on here. It's just... My point is, I've heard some people say that his cutie mark is actually cursed, or that it is something that has made him something he does not want to be. And frankly, I disagree with both of those, because of how cutie marks have been consistently portrayed in the whole show to date. We've discussed extensively the whole cutie mark thing, because it's really about who you are and who you choose to be, right? And as we see within this very episode, once he embraces who he really is, and once he accepts who he really is, go figure, he ends up having a much better outlook and having a much better life as a consequence. Now, apparently, Shikor. So we saw the bison watching, and laughing at him, by the way. And this is my point. Obviously, they say that his cutie mark is to be a clown. I think it's more accurate to say that his cutie mark is simply entertaining people, making people laugh. He's kind of being a comedian. Because he is quite good at that, and they point that out multiple times even before he actually gets his cutie mark, which again embraces the idea of what a cutie mark is. Also, really minor touch here. This whole thing works great, and I do like how they show the cutie mark thing here. My opinion, obviously. I have to pause for a moment and mention that nobody listens to the kids for several minutes because we've got to Nickelodeon this up. And he's running out of mattresses. How does he have that many mattresses? And why are they all crap? But finally, and most importantly, and this is another continuity counter, you notice Sweetie Belle's magic's coming along nicely. Remember when she had trouble lifting a tiny little broom? In this episode, she manages to grab the keys and move them under the door. That's actually pretty impressive. As anybody who has studied Star Wars will tell you, using the Force to manipulate small things is actually a lot harder than manipulating, broad stuff. And yeah, there's this little flicker and stuff. Just good little stuff. So let's go ahead and update the continuity counter now, because I'm about to wrap up here. And I forgot to update it from last episode. So we're up to... Let's see here. We're up to here now, because there's been a bunch in the last two. There we go. Alright. Yeah, exactly, Subicon. So, this is interesting foreshadowing. Oh, sorry. Before I go into the foreshadowing, I mentioned there was one other joke. They suddenly realize, oh my god, it's Trouble Shoes! And the two people in the audience immediately pick out their torch and pitchfork again. I liked that. That was a good one. Anyways, no, Lord Haramont. I will, however, stab you. Stab. There we go. Why would that be a continuity counter? Oh, why would that be a counter-continuity counter? Sorry, I misread you. Well, Lord Haramont makes his point, because I'm apparently skipped something. It is interesting foreshadowing, spoilers, that the CMC helps someone to understand and accept their cutie mark. Which, remember, considering what cutie marks are, that means they are helping other people to understand and accept themselves. Interesting to think about. Yeah, they're life coaches who are actually good at their job. And it's true, they do actually get him to realize the new perspective to look at that. Gooble gobble, gooble gobble. I don't think that's counter-continuity counter, Lord Helmet. First of all, because it doesn't feel like it. Most obvious answer. But second of all, because of the fact that it's just too easy to look at this and say, nah, no, I could excuse this. Yeah, ironically, I will say, however, the need for them to go be in danger in the woods during the storm was completely unnecessary. Especially, like, at first you might think it's done to hype up Troubleshoes as the villain, but the problem is, the second they actually meet Troubleshoes, it is made immediately, instantly clear that he is not actually villainous in any way, shape, or form. It's like, there he is, and then immediately, just crunch. It's like, oh, okay, yep, nope. Got it, comedy. So there's no even point to that from a narrative perspective to try and build up the danger element of things. That's about it. Either way, hi Swedish Tavern. Either way, we need to rate this episode. And oh yeah, Applejack won a trophy. They don't care because they're watching him being funny. So I'm kind of leaning in Lord Harriman's perspective. I think this is a bit below average. Like, it's not particularly offensive, but at the same time, if you skip this, you wouldn't miss anything. Yeah, it's not a blue. It's certainly not a blue. But there's just not a lot there. And you could say, well, that sounds average, but to be perfectly blunt, that's not how I think of average. Average is, you know, a normal amount of episode quality. This is more like a normal amount of episode, period. And to me, an episode that simply is just kind of below average, my opinion. No, yellow is average. Yellow is average. Green is below average. Blue is crap. And we'll come up with a color if we ever run into a Lamentation, because we haven't run into one yet. What color could we use? Let's see. We could use light blue, maybe? Black! We could use black and just do this. There you go. No, yeah, I like that. I like that, because that's just super off. Ooh, no, that's a good point, Raskar, because we have been kind of following WoW colors a little bit. Not fully. If we were to follow WoW colors, it would actually be orange, orange, purple, blue, green, white, gray would be the order. I thought about switching to that. All right. Make the... Oh, hang on. You're making the argument. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, black is very not MLP. I like that. I like that. So yeah, if we ever have a really, really bad episode, an actual Lamentation worthy, I think black works. Especially visually. I just did it on the sheet and it looked great. I mean, here, look at it real quick. Tell me what you think of the look. You're thinking, but wait, how do I look at it? If only we had a command that was exclamation mark MLP in chat that will give you a link immediately to the spreadsheet. Alas, there is no such thing. I admit you make a convincing point, Savicom. There are actually good elements of continuity. The episode did actually make me laugh. And there's the little background stuff with the CMC, and this is setting up for the future. Yeah, I think you've convinced me. I think I will go ahead and push this up to average. It's just, yeah, the plot is disinteresting, and they don't do anything discussion-worthy. There's no great dialogue. There's no great, you know, cutscenes. There's no great animation. There's just not a lot there. But there is enough that I will go ahead and give you the average. Which means this is no longer going to be black. I just wanted you guys to see it. So, average. Oop. What? No. No. There we go. So Dave Polsky continues his trend of being all over the place with regards to his episodes. Go figure. Next week, where are we at next week? Next week is Make New Friends But Keep Discord. I remember liking that, but I remember liking every Discord episode, so I'm a little bit biased. And Lost Treasure of Griffinstone. We're finally going to get our second map episode. And I remember liking that one too. And then, in 2 weeks, Slice of Life. Which is actually one of my favorite episodes in the whole show. Really looking forward to that one. And then Princess Spike, which I'm not looking forward to. And then there's some other stuff. We'll get there. We'll get there. Episode 13 will be a fascinating Luna one. Cancel Out Boutique. Ooh, I'm looking forward to that one too. And Rarity Investigates. Those are both good Rarity episodes. Made in Manhattan. Another good. Or wait, no. That's not the one. Brotherhood Social. I don't want to talk about that one. And there it is. Crusaders of the Lost Mark. I thought that was this season. Episode 18. That looks like a little over a month out from our time, but that's my other favorite episode. If that's the one I think it is. Is that the one? I guess I could look it up really quick. Is that the one? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Just to avoid spoilers here. With a lot of songs, you know. Yeah, okay. Yep. So, looking forward to that one. And then the Cutie Remark, the episode about suicide. Looking forward to that one too. There's some good ones I'm looking forward to in season 5. Yes, Shikor. Guys, I'm putting up a bounty on Shikor's life. I'll pay extra if you make him scream. Anyways. I hope you guys have enjoyed, as always. I'm going to go ahead and chop off the local recording.